Hello, children. I'm just waiting for a few more to catch up. How was your day today? Yes, well, I'm Apollonia and I'm the storyteller, and I have come here from a long way away, especially to read you a story this special day, World Book Day. And I just want you to know that I will be visiting you more often than what I normally do. And I'm going to hopefully see some really good little boys and girls. I hope you're all dressed and waiting. We're going to read this story. Isaac is invisible. Okay? Right. First of all, I'm going to say hello to a few little people who wants their name called out. There's a little boy called Caleb, one called Cardell, a little one called Cachet, a little girl called Katie. I'm going to say a special hello to TPT Nursery in St. Lucia, Vieux-Fort. Hello everyone. Hello children. I'll be saying some more names later, but we've still got people who are still trying to get in. So for those who didn't hear, we're going to read Isaac is Invisible. It's by Rachel Beckles, and she's also the author, by the way, of Butterfly Princesses. So this, I believe, is her second book, but this is a really great one. This is Isaac Elijah Benjamin Brown. He's 4.5 years old. Although he is a bright little spark, his manners are not so bold. There he is. Who does that when they're not happy? Fold their arms. Isaac is rude to everyone, embarrassing his mum and dad. Their son not used his best manners. He's made his parents quite sad. Look at him shouting. She looks scared, doesn't she? I hope you use your best manners today and every day. What a cute little face, people would say when Isaac stood there still. But as soon as he opened that mouth, he would shout, scream, and shrill. That's it. I've had it. I have to go to bed, said Isaac's mum one night. His father said, I know, I've got it. Ignore him until he's polite. Next morning, Isaac ran downstairs. I want boiled eggs and toast. He banged his fist on the kitchen table, wanting what he loved most. Did you hear anything polite? His mum asked. Afraid not, his father replied. Isaac stared at both his parents with his mouth wide open. I must be invisible, he said out loud. Dad winked at his mum. Their son was learning to be polite while they had a little fun. Isaac pulled silly faces. His parents said not a word, But now Isaac truly believed he could not be seen or heard. Look at him, trying to attract his parents' attention. Let's go and play tennis, his dad said, handing Mum a bat. Give me a bat, demanded Isaac. Dad didn't seem to hear that. Did you hear anything polite? His mother asked. Afraid not, his father replied. Isaac stared at both his parents with his mouth open wide. There he is. He can't believe. He cannot believe it. I must be invisible, he said out loud. His dad winked at his mum. Their son was learning to be polite while they had a little fun. Isaac watched his mum and dad. He thought he wouldn't care. He didn't want to be polite, and he didn't want to share. There's his mum and dad. They're having fun. I love tennis, his mum laughed. Me too, chuckled his dad. While Isaac tried desperately, playing along made him mad. I'm tired and thirsty, his dad sighed. Would you like a drink? Oh, yes, please, replied his mum, and gave his dad a wink. I wonder how Isaac's feeling. I want a drink now, shouted Isaac, jumping up and down. He was feeling thirsty too, and he threw his bat to the ground. Did you hear anything polite? His mother asked. Afraid not, his father replied. Isaac stared at both his parents with his mouth wide open. I must be invisible, he said out loud. His dad winked at his mum. Their son was learning to be polite while they had a little fun. He can't believe it. Look at his eyes. He can't believe it. Time for another game, said Mum. Would you like to play Snap? Great idea, replied his dad, giving a joyful clap. I want to play Snap, shouted Isaac, hoping that this time they heard. But he didn't use his manners, so they ignored every word. Did you hear anything polite? His mother asked. Afraid not, his father replied. Isaac stared at both his parents with his mouth open wide. I must be invisible, he said out loud. His dad winked at his mum. Their son was learning to be polite while they had a little fun. He can't believe it. Look at his face. His parents played so happily, sharing out the cards. Isaac found that a game for two alone was very hard. So they're playing their own game. Totally been ignored by Isaac's totally been ignored by his parents. It's time for dinner now, said Dad. Mum went to lay the table. Isaac was glad he wasn't asked, although he knew he was able. Look at them playing cards. I can see Shane. Hello, Shane. How are you? Isaac was so horrified to see the table was set for two. Perfect, smiled his mum and dad. One for me and one for you. See, got nothing there, has he? I want dinner, Isaac screamed as loud as his little lungs could. He knew that this time he had to be heard, or at least he hoped he would. Hello, Katie. Hello, Dakai. Did you hear anything polite? His mother asked. Afraid not, his father replied. Isaac stared at both his parents, but this time Isaac sighed. Do you feel sorry for him now? I think he's feeling the pressure now. I'm tired of being invisible, he sniffed. He missed his mum and dad. He thought about his behaviour that day and realised he'd been quite bad. He thought he'd try one last time in the nicest possible way. He remembered all the polite things his parents asked him to say. There he's trying to remember. Hello, Remy. You've got a Remy on. I hope you were dressed in your costume. Dad, please may I have some dinner? Isaac said to his dad. He didn't want to feel invisible, and he was feeling very sad. Oh, my goodness, there you are. Where have you been all day? Isaac, so shocked that they heard, he didn't even know what to say. What lovely manners you use, my son. Of course you may have some dinner. Now Isaac knew they could see him again. He really felt like a winner. He sat at the table with a grin spread across his cheeks. He remembered to use his manners for weeks and weeks. Isaac's parents were so happy their son was being polite. He was no longer a rude little boy. He was now a joyful delight. Now, one more page. There he is with his friends. But if Isaac ever did slip and forgot to say please, he quickly remembered that a boy with no manners is a boy that nobody sees. That was the end of that story, and I hope all of you are dressed up today in your lovely costumes and you always have manners. Now there was a few children I want to say a special birthday to a little boy called Emil. He's 4 years old today. Happy birthday, Emil. And to your little sister Araya. I don't know how old she is, but hello. To say hello to Ava. To say hello to Josh, Soraya, Katie, Cardell, Cachet, and Caleb. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again, and one day I'm going to read a story of how I became Apollonia the storyteller. So take care.